The 48 Laws of Power, by Robert Greene. In a nutshell, the 48 Laws of Power draws on many of history's most famous power quarrels to show us what power looks like, how to get it, and, most importantly, how to keep it. Favorite quote: "Do not leave your reputation to chance or gossip, it is your life's artwork, and you must craft it, hone it, and display it with the care of an artist." Robert Greene. Introduction. We all desire a certain amount of control, whether in our own lives, our family units, or at work, but how do you become powerful? And if you do, how do you sustain your position? Robert Greene is the author of 6 international bestsellers. His work mostly revolves around strategy, power, and seduction. Joost Elfvers is a publishing entrepreneur and author, whose books invite psychological and imaginative interaction from his readers. The 48 Laws of Power put Greene on the map, and the book has gone on to sell more than 1 million copies. In the 48 Laws of Power, Greene and Elfvers explore 3,000 years of power, control, and strategy. The authors draw on the philosophies of Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, and Karl von Clausewitz to bring us the key guidelines by which to gain power in our lives. Here are 3 key insights from this book. 1. You can gain power by making superiors feel smarter than you. 2. Make errors on purpose to confuse your competition. 3. Seduce others into accepting your way. Insight 1. You can gain power by making superiors feel smarter than you. When your boss comes across a problem on their computer, you might go over and show them how quick and easy it is to solve. Unfortunately, flaunting your IT skills in front of them is probably a pretty good way to prevent yourself from getting promoted. The one thing people in a position of power don't want is to look powerless or stupid. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Robert Greene. The French Minister of Finance under King Louis XIV, Nicolas Fouquet, paid for saying too much with his life, which was spent in prison. When Fouquet threw an excessive party at his chateau in favor of the king accused him of stealing on the basis that no one man could legally be that wealthy, and threw him in prison. Instead of shouting about how great you are, make your boss feel like the wealthiest, most successful person in the room, even if you know they're not. Part of making superiors feel smart is by giving them credit, even when it's not due. When Galileo Galilei discovered the 4 moons of Jupiter, he could have taken all of the credit for himself. Instead, Galileo named the moons after the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Cosimo II de' Medici, and his brothers. As a result, Cosimo II appointed Galileo as his official philosopher and mathematician, securing Galileo's research funding for years to come. This insight in action. Give credit whether it's due or not. If you want to get your boss's attention and stay on their good side, give them some credit for your work, whether they deserve it or not. The next time there's a responsibility to be given out, there's a better chance it will come to you. Insight 2. Make errors on purpose to confuse your competition. The competition always seems to be one step ahead. Chances are that they've invested time and energy into researching you and your behavior patterns. Your best move to stay on top is to act unpredictably. Do the opposite of what you think people expect, make a mistake on purpose, or just disappear for a while. Your opponents will wear themselves out attempting to predict your movements if you behave unpredictably. Unpredictable behavior works because the inability to understand intimidates people. Unpredictability is not only a weapon of terror, scrambling your patterns on a day-to-day basis will cause a stir around you and stimulate interest. Robert Greene. Bobby Fischer used this strategy of unpredictability to beat Boris Spassky in the 1972 Chess World Championship final. Fischer made a beginner's mistake in their first game and didn't even show up for the second one, thus losing by forfeit. He returned only minutes before the third game started, and started making crazy demands like moving cameras, switching rooms, and exchanging chairs. Finally, Fischer played openings completely atypical to his usual chess style and went on to beat Sky to become world champion. Unpredictability is generally a master's weapon, but an underdog can utilize it to work their way up the power structure. Surprising movements not only confuse, they pique curiosity. When Pablo Picasso declined to submit his artworks to his art dealer, who seemingly had power over Picasso, the dealer remained confused for a few days. When the dealer realized he couldn't figure out Picasso's move, he offered the artist additional money. Control distinguishes a winner from a loser. If you can keep calm and conceal your true intentions, you will eventually prevail over your opponent. This insight in action. Throw the competition off their A-game. Even if your predictable strategy works, people will eventually see it coming. Test some new ideas and game plans to keep your competitors on their toes. You may learn something new, and they won't know what hit them. Insight 3. Seduce others into accepting your way. Even when you're in a position of power, people won't always do what you want them to. You should never resort to trying to force people to obey. Instead, you need to seduce them. We all acknowledge the importance of progressive change, but people are creatures of habit and don't appreciate sudden changes in their routines. While people acknowledge how vital it is for institutions to be renewed over time, they are also annoyed and disturbed by changes that affect them personally. If you want to do things your way, you first need to create a strong power base by showing people that you honor the old approaches. If you make a show of going against the times, flaunting your unconventional ideas and unorthodox ways, people will think that you only want attention and that you look down upon them. Robert Greene. Once you have built a rapport with your people, ensure that any changes you make feel like a gradual improvement on the methods of the past. You can leverage the past to create power, but keep an eye on the demands of the time. If what happened in the past was unpleasant, associating with it will be detrimental to your reputation, so proceed with caution. When Napoleon came to power, the French Revolution was still fresh in the minds of his people. Napoleon's courtiers would have been terrified if his court was anything like that of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, who were executed in the French Revolution for living lives of excess. Napoleon deliberately created a contrasting court that was famous for its passivity and lack of pomposity. This insight in action. Learn to charm people. Brute force may get you what you want, but with resentment and bad will. Consider who you need a favor from and put yourself in their shoes. What will they gain out of this? How can you turn this around to benefit you both? Take action. Give credit whether it's due or not. If you want to get your boss's attention and stay on their good side, give them some credit for your work, whether they deserve it or not. The next time there's a responsibility to be given out, there's a better chance it will come to you. Throw the competition off their A-game. Even if your predictable strategy works, people will eventually see it coming. Test some new ideas and game plans to keep your competitors on their toes. You may learn something new, and they won't know what hit them. Learn to charm people. Brute force may get you what you want, but with resentment and bad will. Consider who you need a favor from and put yourself in their shoes. What will they gain out of this? How can you turn this around to benefit you both? Wrap up. By exploring power throughout history, it's clear that power is within your grasp if you know how to get it. You can wield power by concealing more than you reveal, working with a long-term vision, and treading cautiously when it comes to change.
Good job, you've completed this hack.